All right guys, on this episode of Oli Oli Paints, we are going to prime these raw finish Detroit steel wheels. Show you how to make paint stick by using direct metal primers. All right, so these are a raw finish Detroit steel wheel. I ordered these for my 1965 Dodge project that I'm working on. We're gonna custom paint these as well, but just today's video is gonna be all about primer and what you need to do to protect these wheels and actually help paint stick. Because some guys messaged me on Instagram asking, you know, I ordered them raw and my paint flaked off over time and just, it was big frustration. Now, you have a couple of options. You can either A, have them powder coated yourself. You can order them powder coated through Detroit Steel Wheels. But we chose to custom paint these because I wanted to add just a little bit of pizzazz and, you know, be able to say, yeah, I sprayed those and I'm gonna spray the whole truck anyway. So, with that being said, the only thing that I really need to do to prepare these for DTM primer is scuff the face. So the face and the barrel of this, I'm gonna take this red scuff pad and I'm just gonna clean up, right? So I'll bring you guys in and just show you what I'm looking for. Okay, so like I said, I'm just gonna focus on the barrel and the face, and I'm not like trying to sand this, right? Like I'm just hitting the surface real light. Kind of just trying to make sure everything is nice, smooth, and clean. Because if you really want this primer to be effective, cleanliness is key here. And any of this black stuff, I don't know if you guys can see on the face of this, it's just this oxidation I want to just kind of get off of there. So I'll go through, and you could do this if you want to on like a power tool, that's fine too. But just run across it like so. Get up in there. And that's really all I need to do. If you can go crazy with it and try to sand all of these little marks out, it's really unnecessary because our DTM primer will bond to everything you see here. The biggest thing is going to be cleaning this very, very, very well. And I'm going to use an alcohol base cleaner to get any kind of oils or contamination off of the surface of these to ensure that that paint's going to stick and that obviously my investment here is protected and that these look as good as possible. So I'm gonna go ahead, grab another wheel. I'm gonna do 2 of these because I don't think that my setup in the booth is gonna be able to handle all 4 of them at one time. So I'll do 2 of them now. And yeah, we'll just do 2 at a time. I'll prime these 2 today. I'll prime the next 2 tomorrow. I'll allow them to sit and do any kind of shrinking over the next couple of days, and then we'll prep them, paint them. It's gonna be a fun project. I can't wait to see it. All right, so here's how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna go grab the wheel, I'm gonna set it on here, and I'm gonna literally just wire it to this rack in the booth. That's why I said I think I'm only gonna do 2 because it's got pretty small runners on each side and I don't wanna break those. So let me grab one wheel, we'll get it hung up. Like I said, these are steel wheels. They are not light. Oh my God, hold on. I didn't realize I didn't have that all the way hooked. Oy, that could have been a long day. It's already been a long day. Done a lot of things today. All right, let's get this set up just like that. And then I'm gonna take my wire, hoping that this is thick enough gauge to actually dingle-dangle this thing from this wire rack. We'll find out shortly. But I'm also gonna wrap this around one more time, like so. And then we'll remove the stand and see if it falls on the ground, because I mean, I'd rather it fall on the ground now than on my head, right? All right, come on, rack. Let's show you guys the welds on these. These are beautiful. Yeah, we're dingle-dangling. We're dingle-dangling. Awesome, that worked out perfectly. I'm gonna cut the rest of this wire out of my way, but let me show you what we're looking like. All right, so you can see it's hanging from the rack on that wire all the way around. These are 20s, so they're big boys. But now I'm gonna go grab the other wheel, hang it up. We will deep clean these with an alcohol-based cleaner. You can also use acetone. Acetone is perfect for this process as well. Just make sure that you get every bit of like grease, hand oil, things like that off of the surface before you go and use this DTM primer that I'm gonna show you. You don't want any kind of contamination. You want super duper clean metal so you have the best chance of everything bonding and staying put. So let me go ahead, grab the other wheel, get it hung, and then we'll get cleaning. All right, so these are both hung up. I'm ready to go ahead and clean them. You can see that these are welded in-house and built in-house, and the welds look absolutely beautiful all the way around. So if you guys are looking for like a super high quality American-made wheel, Detroit steel wheels, they custom build everything. So as you can see, 8 lug, my 65 is an 8 lug 3/4 ton. So they made sure that everything was good to go, as well as like the diameter of this opening, just so it fits over the hubs and axles. So yeah, let's go ahead. I'm gonna grab that primer and show you what we're working with. All right, before I grab that primer, I have 99% isopropyl alcohol in this spray bottle. So we're gonna get all of these contaminants off of these before we move forward. Like I said, you could use alcohol, you can use acetone, something that's going to remove all of the oils and contamination off of the surface. See all that? That's what we want. I'm even gonna do it to the barrels too, because I want this primer to absolutely adhere. So I'm gonna just make sure it's perfectly clean all the way around. All right, so these are all completely clean. I wiped them both down with alcohol. This is smelling very strong in here. This is the product that I'm going to use. This is AP-7541. This is just a gray DTM primer from Alpha Automotive Paint, available at thespraysource.com. I'll leave links to this down in the description of this video. But basically the key here is you want something that's actually going to bond and provide corrosion protection, right? You don't want these to start rusting. That is the last thing that you want. This right here is the answer, okay? You need to use a DTM primer. I cannot stress that enough. If you're just going to spray bomb these, it's going to fail. It's not gonna provide any kind of chip resistance, rust protection, none of that. If you use a DTM product like this, you have all of those benefits, and I'm pretty dang sure you can get this in spray cans as well. And do all of this with spray cans if your limitation is no air compressor. Use spray cans, just make sure it's a DTM product, has to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and go mix this up. This mix is 4:1, super simple mix ratio. We'll mix up some primer. I'm gonna probably use my 1.7 primer gun, and we'll see what 2 coats does to them. I think 2 is probably going to be plenty. But I might throw 3 on the faces just because I'm gonna make these absolutely perfect, so my base coat has something incredibly smooth to land on. So I don't know, let's just see what happens. I'll put you all on my noggin and we'll get to priming. All right guys, so I have my Alpha DTM primer in here. So 1.7, this is just a Harbor Freight gun, but it's been my primer gun for about 2 years and it works really good. So what we'll do is we'll get a couple coats on these, see how this looks. I do have this going through a waterborne filter that I may regret later. We're just gonna see. I'll start on the back side. How about that? So start back here. Just go ahead and start spraying. The only downside is these are going to move. So I just gotta move with them. Like so, I can even hold it. But this primer is just going to give us that protection, you know what I mean? And I'm going to sand this primer smooth. This is essentially a direct to metal high build, all right? So we're gonna get some millage out of this. so we can smooth out any little imperfections that happen in the manufacturing process. I'm not going to get too carried away on the barrels. I simply just want to have these protected. So I will just do like a single coat. I'm definitely going to need more primer, but I will just do a single coat on the barrels just for that corrosion resistance. So they don't, you know, start to rust from the inside out, because that would suck. I'm not real worried about like where the wire is at, because like I said, this is going to be sealed up by a tire, so it's okay. Now let's go ahead. I'm going to start inside and work out. And I want to fill all of these imperfections, right? So all the little machining marks and what have you. I want this primer to get in there and fill any of that. So when I go to sand it, I can sand it perfectly smooth. I'm also going to reduce this primer and use it as a sealer. So the nice thing about these DTM primers is with a little bit, god dang it, a little bit of reduction, you can use it as a primer sealer, or a wet-on-wet primer. So if I cut through anywhere or whatever, it's not a huge ordeal. Okay, that's one coat on that one. Inside of this guy. The inside, I realize, like, it's somewhere that you're never going to see. But when it comes to being raw steel, you still need to make sure that you protect it with some DTM. And again, guys, you can do a DTM primer in a spray can. Like they have those in their 2K, and they'll work great. You just need to make sure if you're using something like this that peel off this metal, because that's why everything is chipping, because it didn't etch the metal in the first place. So of course your paint's not sticking, you know. No. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this stuff is, I mean, any of those imperfections that were in the face are now filled in, because this primer is pretty thick, you know. I could have even went with a 2.0 if I really wanted it thick. I gotta go mix some more, but I could have went 2.0 and it really got some crazy build. But even with a 1.7, I'm pretty impressed and happy with how these are looking. I'm only going to do a single coat on the barrels. I'm not going to worry about doing 2 coats. I just want to protect the metal. As far as the inside and face, I'm going to do 2 wet coats. This already has 1 nice wet coat. That one I've got to finish up the face and then jump back and do my second. But if you look at this one, That's looking really good. So let me get 2 coats on these, show you what they look like, and yeah, we'll wrap this part of the video up. All right, you guys, this is 2 coats of that DTM primer. You can just see how thick that is. That's gonna be perfect for protecting these from corrosion, and it's going to provide a really good foundation to spray some base coat and paint over. So my game plan here is I'm going to allow these to dry for a couple of days. I have some other projects coming up that I got to get in and out of the shop. So these will go off to the side. Next week, I'm probably let them dry 4 or 5 days. I've got to prime the other 2 tomorrow, which ain't gonna take me very long at all. So I'll get those 2 primed, set them aside. The next time you see these wheels, we're going to prep them, and then we're gonna paint them. I mean, I'm gonna just prep them, paint them, let that cure and harden, and yeah, I'll bring you guys through that entire process, show you guys how to get the absolute cleanest and best finish when you're refinishing wheels like this. And yeah, I'll leave links to this exact wheel down in the description of this video. These are from Detroit Steel Wheels. They are American made, built to spec in-house. I mean, you could customize these a whole bunch of different ways. You don't have to get them raw like this. You can, like I said, you can get them powder coated, a multitude of different colors. You could order them raw and have somebody else powder coat them. I mean, there's a million different ways. They've got a few different styles of wheel too. You don't have to go with the smoothie style like this with the deep dish and the smooth face. They've got multiple other styles of wheels that you guys can check out for your classic truck or even your newer rig. These do look really good on newer stuff, so that's also an option. I'll leave a link to this direct to metal primer down in the description of this video. Everything that you guys see me use in these videos, just check the description. I probably have a link there you guys can click and check out. All right, that's primer on these, completely finished. I'm going to allow those to dry, shrink, do their thing. The next video you guys see, we're gonna get right into prepping them all the way through to paint. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends, let them know, hey, this is the right way to do this, because I've seen so many people paint wheels and they don't go about it in the right way. They don't use the correct products, correct prep, things chip, peel, do all that nasty mess. This process is going to save you a lot of time and a lot of headaches. So I hope you guys follow along, and I'll see y'all in the next one.